Ridley Scott's latest release is another historical epic, this time drawing upon the life of Napoleon Bonaparte, his rise to power and eventual downfall. Beginning in 1793 during the French Revolution, the film opens with the execution of Marie Antoinette, where the young army officer, Napoleon, played by Joaquin Phoenix, stands watching. Later that year, the officer is tasked with managing the siege of Toulon and successfully implements a strategy to take the city, gaining recognition for his tactical mindset, which serves to swiftly promote him up through the ranks. With France in a continued state of upheaval following the revolution, Napoleon swiftly rises to power, eventually becoming emperor after a military coup deposes the political regime of the time. All this time, in his personal life, Bonaparte falls for and weds the aristocratic widow Josephine, played by Vanessa Kirby. But the pair struggle in their relationship due to the distance between them as the leader mounts campaigns of war and their inability to have children. Napoleon is every bit as visually polished as you'd expect from Ridley Scott. The costumes are granted layers of period detail, from the rags on the back of the poor to the opulence of the wealthy, and along with the clothes, the locations and set designs suitably ground the film in the period, so much so that you can almost smell the streets of France. The level of detail helps you immerse yourself in the troubled history of the country of the time. In addition, the battles are stunningly presented, with details to the strategy, the weapons, and the brutality of the campaigns certainly impressing. Although maybe the poetic license of having Napoleon fire cannons at the pyramids was a strange choice, and it makes it look almost like Napoleon didn't quite know what he was actually doing. But still, visually superb filmmaking, often complemented by well-chosen scores by composer Martin Phillips. However, that's pretty much all the film has going for it, as in between the battles, it all feels a little flat. And the pacing of the story doesn't allow any time to really grow to care for anyone on screen. The very complicated post-revolution France is skimmed past almost on fast forward, and how Napoleon rose to power during it is sadly skimmed over as a result. He seems to simply go from low ranks to leader at the change of a scene, without ever taking time to show how he built up the friendships through the ranks that benefited his rise to power. We are simply asked to accept that overnight he became well known and popular. But this film is presented as a look at Napoleon as a leader and lover, or so the trailers suggest. So the focus is on his romance with Josephine. Sadly, however, this feels almost like an afterthought at times, and aside from the occasional reading of letters, there appears to be absolutely zero chemistry between the two. Whether this is down to lackluster writing, overzealous editing, or the rather monotone performance of Phoenix, someone who's usually so much better than he is in here, is uncertain. But the result is that the love between Napoleon and Josephine never feels organic or believable. Kirby, to her credit, does well in trying to lend something to the fleeting moments that she gets on screen, but when your co-star is seemingly playing stoic throughout, her attempts are for naught. I felt that the film told me nothing about Napoleon that a GCSE textbook wouldn't cover, and it had about the same emotional depth. There is no attempt to get under the skin of who Napoleon was as a man, and it's simply a look at the strategist that he was, which would be fine if it didn't seem like it was also trying to look at his personal life. Ridley Scott is famous for ignoring historians in order to simply present entertainment on screen. This time, however, he appears to have ignored both. Starring Uma Thurman and Joe Manganiello, alongside support from Samuel L. Jackson and Maya Hawke, The Kill Room is a dark comedy which satirizes the world of art as it sees it collide with the criminal underworld. Thurman plays Patrice, a struggling gallery owner who gets an investment opportunity when local mobsters plan to use her gallery to launder money by taking the sloppy artwork of one of their hitmen, Manganiello's Reggie, or Bagman as he becomes known, to exhibit but not sell. The mob will then purchase it with their illicit money in order to channel the money back to themselves. However, due to the ridiculously high values these paintings apparently sell for, Bagman becomes a mysterious overnight sensation in the art world, with buyers and critics desperate to get one of his pieces. Reggie, who has been wanting to retire from killing for quite some time, sees it as a chance to take a step in a more personal passion. The concept is great, and the satire of the art criticism is sharp, But this is a film that meanders around far too much in the first 2 acts, and it suffers as a result. Thurman doesn't sell her part at all. It feels like she's just phoning it in. It's a very bland performance. And the deluge of character dumps early in the film bog things down and don't actually make much difference. Mayor Hawke's character is absolutely pointless to the overall story, and it seems just like a deliberate shoehorn in just to have a play alongside her mother. Manganiello is the only member of the cast who makes things interesting, and the screen pops and lights up every time that he pops onto it. The final act does salvage things a little, as it ramps up to be almost a heist movie, as they plan to sell a unique piece of art which the rich buyers and critics will witness the creation of. To say what they will witness would be a bit of a spoiler. And again, this satirizes the sometimes pretentious obnoxiousness of the art world beautifully. As a result, the film ends on a really good high that lifts the overall impression, but to spend an hour before you get there is far too much of a slog.